What's going on, everybody? Hey, before we get started with today's video, if you're looking for a super easy way to make some quick cash while you're pretty much doing nothing with all this alone time watching Netflix and stuff, I have a great solution for you. So back when I was an aspiring actor, in between my Uber and Lyft rides, I was on this service called Survey Junkie. And it's incredible because you literally make money just filling out these surveys. And the surveys will be anything about products you use, places you've lived, all kinds of different things. They're real fast, real easy to fill out. You save up those points and you can cash them out on PayPal or redeem them for prizes. And it's crazy because I literally used to do this. And I revisited the idea of it the other day because what was I doing? Sitting on the couch watching Netflix. So I thought, hey, there's got to be a way I can monetize this time a little bit better. So I remembered that, I got back on, started filling out surveys and making some money. It's 100% legit. I can verify that because I've been a part of it for years, honestly. And yeah, you definitely want to check it out. So get on our really good promo code. It's in the description, and get started filling out some surveys. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Rideshare Hub. My name's Greg. What we're doing today is a full review of the app Gridwise. I'm going to dive all the way in on this and give you guys all the coolest parts about it. But if you're interested in making more money with Uber and Lyft, saving more money on your taxes, and really just having a lot of good info for you to constantly maximize your hours, this is the app for you. Link will be in the description. You definitely want to get on that and sign up with our code. It is going to change your life. If I'd had this freaking app when I had first started driving for Lyft and Uber, it would have changed the game for me, no doubt. The biggest thing that for me was early on, I didn't know that Uber and Lyft only tracked your online miles. And so I didn't realize, and I was just young and dumb and I didn't research or look into anything back then, but I didn't realize that I could have, I was paying way too much on my taxes. I could have had so many more miles to write off and they weren't getting tracked, so I didn't know it. I assumed Uber and Lyft tracked everything and I just didn't look into it enough. So early on for me, that would have been a game changer, right? But what's cool about Gridwise, it was started by rideshare drivers and it was basically made to essentially simplify and ease the entire process for us. So right away, the people that made it are people that have done this, and they're not just a bunch of guys sitting in a room trying to come up with a good idea on what could help us. Like, these are guys that understand the biggest holes, we'll say, in the system that we all work for. So the main goal of it is to show you everything and anything that can help you maximize your time and money. They claim that you will increase your earnings by 39%. Seems like a very specific number, so maybe they're not BSing, but that did seem a little high to me. But won't know unless you try it, right? So it's still a newer service. It's not available everywhere. Atlanta, Austin, Texas, Baltimore, the Bay Area, Boston, Charlotte, Chicago, Columbus, Dallas, Denver, Detroit, Houston, Vegas, LA, Miami, New Jersey, New York, Philly, Phoenix, Pittsburgh, San Antonio, San Diego, San Jose, Seattle, and Washington, D.C. But they believe they're going to be pretty much everywhere within a few short months. So that's still a lot of major cities. I've already downloaded it and I'm ready to use it once this mess is all over and I'll be driving again. All right. So the main thing is there is almost an endless amount of information on this app. It is crazy. You can really, really dive in. There's a ton of features, a ton of saucy little things you can fool around with and look into. But for me, the biggest difference maker is, like I said in the beginning, the mileage tracker. And maybe this is just too personal for me, but this to me is just so important. Maybe for most people, they never had a problem with this. But for me, I would have loved to have had something like that where I could have had every single mile recorded and then not have been wondering at the end of the year. To put in perspective is so Uber and Lyft, I don't even think it's just that they only pay online miles. I think they only pay in-ride miles too. I don't think they only track, not paid. They only track the online miles. I don't believe they're tracking like driving to the passenger, right? So let's say you're a full-time driver, and let's say there's an additional 20,000 miles that you could have written off, which that's very fair to assume, because I put like, I mean, good Lord, 90-some thousand miles on my car in 1 year of like full-time driving. And I wasn't even like pushing it. That was like barely at 40 hours, maybe not even a week. So it's very fair to assume that you could have 20,000 offline, not in a ride miles, for a lack of a better way of saying that. And what that really means is that's about $10,000 in savings. So that's a lot of money that you could have been writing off or getting back on your return, right? So that's the number one way that I think like it just makes so much sense to use it. But the other great thing they do is they're really good at showing you like surge times and busy times. It starts building basically an algorithm of where you need to be and when you need to be there. And I like this so much, especially if someone's a newer driver, because like it took me, I would say like a good 2 years to really know how to like maximize like every second on the app, right? And to not have any downtime. It took me like 2 years of like learning the area I was in and, you know, understanding when to drive, when not to drive, when to be in Scottsdale, when to be in Phoenix. You see what I'm saying? Like you start learning all these things as you drive, but if you've got this app, it's going to do all that for you. So it's really going to give you the information that a veteran driver is going to have in his head about driving, like all those analytics and stuff. It's going to kind of bring that right at your fingertips. Oh, look at that. I should be a spokesman. That sounded crisp. Someone's going to come and be like, yeah, you're full of it, dude. You'll never be an actor. All right. But the other thing they have is they have a queue tab that's going to show you how many drivers are in the airport queue for each service. And what it also does is it kind of optimizes that data to another level, because hypothetically, if you've got X amount of drivers that are running both apps, if you have an airport lot that doesn't use both platforms, or does use both platforms, so like here, for instance, there's a Lyft lot and an Uber lot. But if they're leaving both apps on, they might be in both queues if they're close enough. Now, that's not the case here, but in a lot of cities it is. And for instance, like in Charlotte, I know, maybe it's changed since then, but when I was driving there, the queues were combined into one. And so everybody waited in the same lot. And so it was crazy because a lot of times I didn't know, okay, do I turn, you know, if it would get down to where there's like, maybe I'm seventh in line for Uber, but I'm third in line for Lyft, the Lyft lot would usually take a lot longer. So a lot of times I'd be like, okay, should I just shut off Lyft and then I'm going to get the Uber ping first, you know? But a lot of times it would literally come down to the point where they would both go off at the same time. So this is also going to help you get a better idea of which line's actually going to go faster and which one you might want to leave on versus leaving off. They also have events, and it's way more complex than what Uber and Lyft does. Uber and Lyft is going to send you an email about, you know, the biggest events and head out there for increased rates, which means everyone and their mother is going to be out there looking for rides. Yes, there will be a big surge. Might take you an hour to give that one ride. So this is going to give you all the other events, all the other smaller things and reasons on why you would want to be in a certain area. It also tracks your performance and gives you a full breakdown of Uber versus Lyft. It shows you your hours, miles, earnings, your hourly rate, your per mile rate, and your average trips per hour. So there's a lot of good analytics and data there. I like that too, because I would always try and stick to like an idea. Can't think of a word. Wow. But I would always try to stick to like a habit of getting 2 rides per hour and trying to make 20 an hour. I was always trying to make $10 per ride, 2 rides per hour. And so I would always kind of add all that up in my head over time, and it'd be really cool to just have that breakdown right in front of you at all times, especially if you hammer out like 10-hour plus days. I promise at the very least it'll just be interesting. So But they even start calculating the tax deductions right away, and they're preparing it as you go. So by the time you get to filing, it's just going to be way, way easier. You can also compare, you can have a comparison of other drivers in the area. So all that data in any given area is syncing, and you can see like, okay, you know, this dude's crushing it. He's making 30 an hour out here, and I'm not. Oh, and they also have an app switching toolbar. That's pretty cool. If you drive both services, you can switch between the tabs. They also have weather alerts, so that can be helpful if you're someone who doesn't want to drive in extreme weather conditions. You can get some notice ahead of time. A lot of times when you're driving all day, you're not going to hear that all of a sudden there's a nasty, nasty storm. I believe there's also traffic alerts too, and they're a little bit more precise than maybe a lot of GPS services. But yeah, all in all, guys, this is seriously a must-have app. This is going to really simplify the process for you. And you know, I don't know. I'm still so stuck on the tax time. I feel like that is like the best part, and I would honestly get it for that part and that part only. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. I definitely want you guys to check out Gridwise, so go download it now using our promo code. And once this whole mess of us being cooped up is over, you'll be able to try it out with all your first rides. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you all soon.